number is 198432, and First Palmetto Bank is a member of FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Three o'clock on a Labor Day Monday. Welcome aboard the post-game show. Along with Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. For that small percentage of you that's working like we are, hey, way to go.
Yeah.
And if you're not, hey, enjoy the afternoon. Thank you for tuning in with us. No matter what you're doing, we got a lot to get to. As Tyler just said, it is kind of funny to think about. 24 hours ago, the Carolina game hadn't even kicked off yet. Nope. And here we are. This is what it feels like in NFL towns, I guess, because I cannot recall. Somebody asked me this. I cannot recall South Carolina ever having played on a Sunday. I mean, they've played during the week in bowl games and a lot of Thursdays through the years, but as best I can tell, they've never played on a Sunday.
This takes me back to my NFL days where, first of all, you're doing 17-hour post-game shows and you pop back, it feels like 15 minutes later, and you do your show on Monday.
Yeah, so I kind of like the day of separation because sometimes, and although I will say we've done so many Thursday games where Friday reaction is
Right.
a little more raw.
Especially in the Spurrier days, right?
Yeah, and like one of my favorite shows ever was the day after that A&M game in 14. I kid, but
I bet you do.
South Carolina wins it 24-11. Listen. It was a really good opening win. First off, what's the number one question when you're watching a game? Especially if it's your team.
Did you win?
Yeah, did you win? So there's that, right? Then you get into other nuances. So South Carolina not only won, they won by 2 scores, and they won where, in my opinion, they were always in control. Now, you might say, Jay, it was a little tenuous there for a bit, and it was. And a couple of big mistakes by Virginia Tech moved them back 30 yards, and then Carolina seemed to, from there, really kind of just put the hammer down. But there's plenty here to be concerned about. First and foremost, and I'm running a couple of polls that we'll get to in a minute, but there were a lot of, I think, very pertinent questions about the offensive line, both in the fact that LaNorris was sacked 4 times. One of them was a safety. That at least initially, after the first drive anyway, South Carolina had trouble getting Attaway and Faison going. Ultimately, those two combined for 100 yards. Each of them had better than 4 yards per carry. I think Attaway actually had over, or was it Faison had over 5? But both of them had long runs, so that was a positive. But yes, I think collectively speaking, the offensive line is going to have to find a way to get better. They're missing a couple of pieces, so we'll see how that looks in the coming weeks. You'll have a lot of work this week against an opponent that you are certainly expected to comfortably get past, and then you start conference play. I think LaNorris Sellers was LaNorris Sellers. There were times when he looked absolutely fantastic. The touchdown, a couple of plays where you just couldn't tackle him. I thought, by and large, maybe a couple of the sacks, and I suppose I mean this, I don't want to say in a good way, but I do think that yesterday LaNorris was really trying to hone in on his receivers, and that maybe a couple of the sacks might have been on him in the sense that he was trying to go through his progressions. Yes, there were times when he could have maybe gotten rid of the ball, or he wanted to run in the past and he didn't. And where will that blend ultimately come around for LaNorris Sellers? But overall, I thought he was solid yesterday against what I thought was a pretty good and very game Virginia Tech ball club. Defensively, I think they probably performed better than we all expected. I mean, Tech didn't score a touchdown, y'all. Period. End of story. They didn't score a touchdown. 3 kicks, and one was 56 yards. And two of their points, again, on something that's avoidable for South Carolina when it comes to a safety. Nick Harbor showed out. He had the bad drop, and I think from that point forward, listen, let me say this too. And we can sit here and haggle over whether that should have been a touchdown. But here's what I do want to say about that play and Nick individually. That was a hell of a catch. I mean, he got up, he brought it down, he got 2 feet in when you only need 1 at this level. That was a nice little look. And I will give the VPI corner credit for just a little bit of a nudge. In my personal opinion, much like the LSU game, I think the replay booth made the wrong call. I thought both of those were touchdowns. I get why they overturned them, but whether you were there yourself at either of those games, for what it's worth, or watching or listening, there was a lot of questions about the seemingly incredibly high bar that we're now setting. I thought Nick Harbor came all the way down in possession of the football. And I thought the LSU kid did too on Saturday. But otherwise, I thought going up and getting it, putting 2 feet down and staying with it was really, really impressive for Nick. And then the bomb, and I said on Twitter, they needed that. And I don't just mean yesterday. I mean, they needed that for their own psyche. It's like when you have a kid that or a player in the pros and you made a big trade and you need that guy to go do something. Now, it's not the same exact analogy, but we needed to see that from those guys, and we did. And now how much more often might you see it? How much more of a legitimate threat does that become in terms of how South Carolina is defended moving forward? And then, of course, the Vicari Swain play. I'll be honest. I don't know how you felt, Terry. I don't know how those of you listening felt. But watching yesterday, and my first reaction was, this is after the penalty, right? So they've punted, and Carolina's going to get 5 extra yards, which is going to put the ball at 31-yard line. That's fine field position to start, right? I was like, oh, I don't like it when you change. I don't like it when you change. It's something, the wrong. Yeah, the dude suddenly going to knock, a 70-yard punt, and it's going to get over Vicari's head, and it's going to land at the 2 or whatever, right? What a run back. And the spin move at around, the 20, 15? Mm-hmm. Man, that was total video game stuff. And to dive into the end zone. All in all, South Carolina, I think the score is indicative of the game that was played. Plenty of ugly in an opener, especially against a good football team. This is one reason that a lot of coaches, Shane Beamer, would like to have an exhibition game of some sorts, but you don't. So you have to take the fact that you're going to shake some rust off. Especially, again, neutral site, good team, wanted to beat you, had a lot to prove, so did you. The better team absolutely won the football game, covered the spread, lives to fight plenty more days, knows what it has to work on, got to get a few guys healthy, especially Judge Collier. That one's a little scary. And you're 1-0. You'll move up a spot or two in the polls tomorrow. They don't come out till tomorrow because we have a game tonight. But all in all, Terry, again, 24-11, 13-point win. I think that's about what we should have seen.
Look, you walk out of this thing feeling good because, A, you played a power conference opponent and you won. You won by double digits. You were the best team. You got punched around with some adversity a little bit. I thought what would happen is, because Virginia Tech had so many unknowns, right, Jay, that it was going to take a quarter, a half tops to kind of get a grip on it. But we got to the fourth quarter, and this thing's still tight, and I'm going, oh, jeez. Then I'm starting to think this one, ready? The football gods have taken a dump on Coach Pry in one-score games, right? He's 1-12. I go, please don't make him 2-12 at this point, because South Carolina's been the better team. Don't lose this thing, because the field goal kicker from Virginia Tech can make like an 80-yarder, it felt like.
Right.
I didn't want that to happen. And I'm like you. When Beamer says re-kick the punt, I'm like, do we really want to do that? Yeah. I don't know. And then like 5 seconds later, I even turned to Tyler, I go, what do you think? He goes, I don't know. I go, me either, man. And all of a sudden, Swain's in the end zone, and we're like, well, that's why he's the head coach, and we're not. Yeah. The thing that I liked about it is you saw some things that make you feel really good. Nick Harbor, and you hit it on the head. That deep ball doesn't just make you feel good in the Virginia Tech game. Makes you feel good moving forward. Oh, my God, this guy might be becoming a wide receiver. And if he can take that speed, start to apply it to football, that's a scary human being, number one. And by the special teams tackle, that kid's still trying to find his teeth when Harbor hit him on the special teams tackle. The other thing I really liked is I really, really liked the linebacking crew. That speed and athleticism, they got to figure out some things in coverage, but those guys are flying. And when you have fast, and you saw this last year, when you got fast linebackers, your whole defense looks fast. And those guys are fast. And I love Fred. Fred's my man.
Yeah.
I love
Take a knee
Fred.
next time, but other
Taking
than
him
that,
in the end zone.
Yeah.
But Fred,
but I get the want there.
Well, again,
I get it.
Youngin, got an interception. He's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, but
J.O., a lot of speed.
Yep.
Murphy, who struggled yesterday, still a lot of speed and athleticism. He just got to – it's one game, man. You got to get your feet under you. I love the upside of this linebacking crew. I really do. I like Cisse because Cisse got beat early and he had amnesia.
Yeah.
He said, you know what? Screw it. I'm in position. Dude just made a play over me. We were 50-50 in it. He won that one. He ain't going to win the next one. Cisse ended up having a good game despite that play. I really like Cisse at the corner. Obviously, got to get Collier healthy because, again, you got a lot of inexperience, and Swain's got a lot of ability. Don't know if he's ready for that yet. All right. The other thing I love the interior of this defensive line, man. Those guys were stout yesterday. Barrett, all three of them. Love Goodwine. By the way, you know who's the highest-rated guy, Pro Football Focus defensively? The other guy.
Yeah.
Excellent game by the interior. Really good job. On the other, I'll tell you this too. Dylan Stewart didn't grade out very well yesterday, to my surprise. Especially rush. He had one of the worst pass rush grades on the team. But you know what he did? He affected that bleeping game, dude.
He did, yeah.
He forced the interception. And then in that major, major spot in the game, it was 10-8, fourth quarter. Virginia Tech was inside the South Carolina 40. It's like Dylan Stewart said, you know what, screw this. Gets the sack on drones. Then you got the personal foul penalty, then sportsmanlike on the wide receiver Green, which was stupid. And then Stewart stones the running back at the line of scrimmage. It's almost like Dylan Stewart said, you know what, fellas, stand back. I'm going to course correct this crap right now. And that was huge in this game. We forget about that moment because the punt return and the bomb, but Virginia Tech was moving to take the lead. And Dylan Stewart stood up and said, let me show you why I'm all SEC. And Stewart wrecked the game right there.
Yeah.
And he was really good against the run yesterday, Jay, which we talked about this.
Right.
The way to get better for Dylan Stewart, you got to be able to tackle people besides quarterbacks. Stewart, yeah, he might not have had the greatest grade rushing the passer, but he affected that game, man, and especially in big moments. So
yeah, I thought, and listen, I mean, 7 tackles, a sack, 1.5 TFLs for Dylan Stewart too. So it's funny because I'm with you. I saw that he did not grade out collectively all that well, but if you saw the stat line, and that's again some of the things we look at, but he'll be all right. And listen, if they want to keep negating him, eventually others will find a way to step up.
Now, I want to go to you what you said about Lenore Sellers, and I thought it was that, and you're right. He really seemed like he's really trying to stay in the pocket to go through progressions, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But you got to get rid of that ball in the end zone. You can't hold that ball as long as he did. He had a guy in the flat who was open, but he was holding and holding and holding. Yeah. And so, yes, Freddie should have took a knee, but Lenore's has got to get rid of that rock in the end zone.
Yeah, you do.
You got to.
And those are, listen, I think, especially, again, because of who you played, a major step up in competition from last season's opener where everybody was nervous and fluttery and whatever else. This was a little bit different. But, for Shane and his staff, tons to work on in a 13-point win.
Here's the thing, Jay. Every time, like when that happened, okay, look, things happen in a football game. The other team's trying too, and Virginia Tech's defensive front's good.
They were good.
So you get the safety. Now your defense has got to go stop Virginia Tech at midfield. What do they do? Stop them.
Right.
There were moments in this game where, look, big plays are huge. Texas lost to Ohio State because they lost all the big plays. South Carolina won pretty much all the big plays yesterday when it was time to make a big play. And that's the good news, especially in openers. We know these openers have been a little clunky. You got to walk away from that, like you just said, a lot of teachable moments. But, dude, you're smiling because you got a W, and that was a hell of a lot tougher opponent than Old Dominion.
Absolutely. And I don't know if a lot of people expected a massive blowout. Listen, the line opened at 8. It closed at 6.5. Whatever you want to think of a spread in a game, and Carolina won by 13 points. I mean, again, I think this is about right. Virginia Tech is good. Mm-hmm. Don't believe that Virginia Tech is somebody, this isn't VMI. or something, that Carolina should have.
I liked how you called him VPI. That was good, but go.
That's my old Bob Fulton in me, man. Because whenever Carolina played them back in the day, I could hear Bob Fulton when they were up in Blacksburg. VPI, South Carolina at the VPI 40. I was like, all right, there you go. All right, lots to get to. 803-404-6100 on the AAA phone lines. Call us up with your thoughts. Got a few of you there already. Got some Twitter polls running. A lot to do on a Reaction Monday. And Terry mentioned that Ohio State-Texas game. Plenty around college football in addition to just the Gamecocks. It's a busy Labor Day Reaction Monday on the postgame show. All right, welcome back in. Post-game show rolls on. Happy Labor Day to all of you. Jay and Terry with you. Barely 24 hours after Carolina kicked it off with Virginia Tech. Here we are.
By the way, we had a caller, David, said, remember the Georgia game?
I was getting ready to say, I have two on Twitter here as well. Yeah, Georgia in 2016 because some hurricane stuff.
Yeah, weather, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I just completely forgot about that because it wasn't, I guess in that sense, I mean, it was certainly a game on Sunday, so that counts. But in my mind, it wasn't a planned Sunday game. But I remember, I was there. I just forgot.
Well, all those years of lawn care, you got those head injuries.
It's really not the lawn care. It's not the lawn care. Just leave it at that. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah, thank you. But yes, thank you to Kyle, to Jamie. Who'd you say called?
David.
David, thank you. But yeah, but I would not have remembered that as, again, a planned.
Right.
Because it wasn't.
It was rescheduled, right?
It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the time when the guy called that wanted to yell at the Hurricane. And I told him to basically go yell at the Hurricane.
Yeah.
That was a different game. I think I don't know, maybe that was the same game. I can't remember now. Again, they run together. I remember one guy called one time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are they delaying it? Like, they don't even know if it's going to hit. And I'm like, bro, you run a small city of over 100,000 when a school like Georgia comes to town. You have law enforcement from like 5 different, areas.
Mm-hmm.
You have first responders, right? You got state troopers that are doing traffic that, might need to evacuate people so they don't die.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Might be a little bit more important, right?
And this guy's like, well, they should wait. I was like, who you mad at, man? That's why I was like, why don't you go out inside and yell at the Hurricane?
Well, we had the weather thing with the South Carolina State game. Was that 3 years ago now?
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, it moved to a Thursday that year.
Yeah,
remember?
yeah. And then the flood game when they, was supposed to have LSU in Columbia and was played in Baton Rouge. So, anyway, yeah. So thanks to all of you. I would have forgotten about that otherwise, though. John wants to get us started here on a Reaction Monday. He gets the first one of the year because, now listen, I know you work a lot now, so typically you've been calling later in the program. So will this be the only time this season that you lead off Reaction Monday? Well, I didn't say I was disappointed. I just was saying that I might, was this going to be the only one?
I mean, John, you have to.
There you go. Yeah. Thompson. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yes. Look at
how about
that.
that?
Look at that.
That might have been the difference.
Adding the sappiness to it
Yeah,
all.
look at
That's
that
all.
guy.
Is that the first time you've been in that ballpark? Yeah. Yeah, man.
Wow.
Free, yeah, that play. If you buy a soda, you get a free
Are
refill
you
all day.
serious?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, John, Holly, happy Labor Day. Happy, and again, engagement.
Congratulations.
That's right. And I'm glad you enjoyed the ballpark. Well, all right, John, we'll holler at you, buddy. Thank you as
buddy.
always.
He's got to change his job around. You know that, right? Maybe find another
Yeah,
job.
I mean, I've because he used to be. I mean, he had like the leadoff spot. He's kind of like Cloninger at press conferences.
Don't you
we had that for him,
Don't
and then he's like,
Don't you
oh,
say-
yeah, I got another job, and my
here's my
boss
thing.
won't let me call. I'm like, screw your boss.
Right. I mean, don't you sit in that interview and say, look, I get you're going to pay me a lot of money, more than I'm getting. You're going to make my quality of life a lot better, but I have one problem and I can't take the job.
Yeah, and it's only 12 times a year
I have to call Jay Phillips
at like 3:15
at 3:15
on a Monday, 12 times.
I'm going to have to pass on your job. Now, let me ask you this: how easy was that? You and I just did that.
It's like what we say when like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State won't play. It's like, here's
It's
how
easy.
easy it is. Hey, want to play? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, John could have just right up. If you don't let me make this phone call 12 times a year, I can't take your
And
job.
You know what? Get the boss to call me.
Yeah. How bad do you want me?
Yeah, this is not.
This guy right here. Ready? The John experience. How bad do you want me, bub?
So John's lost his place now. Other than he reclaimed it today. Let's see what happens
I think Holly saved him.
in the coming.
I think Holly saved him with a nice little back up there.
In all seriousness, and I tell you, if you want to react today with this, I would love to hear from you guys about your experience in that stadium. Because now, again, I haven't been to Jerry World or SoFi, but I am here to tell you the places I have been, because I've been to a few NFL places through the years. And listen, no, I mean, with all due respect, there's no college stadium that can.
Right.
Right. But that place is awesome, man.
Yeah, I've never been.
I'll
take your word for it.
It is something, because I thought the old Georgia Dome was fine, and it was better than fine. It was the Georgia Dome was cool. This place takes the Georgia Dome and goes like,
Hold my beer.
I mean, and not only hold my beer, it's like beers aren't expensive,
And
they
get
got
free refills on your
Well,
soda.
I wish you got free refills on beer.
How good
You
would
don't.
that be, with
That
some
would
free
be a
refills
thing,
on
man. If you said,
beer?
"Here's pay us $50 and you can drink all the beer you want," I'd be like, hell,
That could be
yeah.
dangerous.
Well, they wouldn't do that.
No.
All right, 803-404-6100. More of your reaction on the phone lines, the text line. Got some Twitter polling to get to as well. It's Reaction Monday.
10 at the Gamecock 20-yard line, just right outside of it. Drones back in the shotgun again, looking over to that left side. He's got 3 wide receivers that way. Stumbles with the football. Here comes Stewart. He can't get him. Drones rolling right side, throwing to the end zone, picked off. The Gamecocks come out of the end zone. That's the only mistake they made.
That's only one, you're right, yeah.
Only mistake that they made. And that spread, J.R. Johnson, 6'4", 240-pound freshman from Norfolk, Virginia, with his first big play as a Gamecock.
Todd and Tommy on the call. It was a big moment, and you get why the kid came out. They'll work on that. Welcome back in, Jay and Terry with you here on
big, fast
Labor Day.
human being is Fred.
Yeah, but that was a big play.
Yeah, it was a huge
big play.
Huge play in the game. Absolutely.
But
like I said, that defense made all the big plays it needed to make.
Yeah. Like I said, and I think John hit on it. I thought he said it well in his call. This is a big opponent. I realize that this isn't, the Virginia Tech of Michael Vick or something like that. But this isn't a bad football team. And I like I say, I'm not trying to pick on like VMI or even UVA, but we saw Virginia Tech last year, 2 overtime losses, 5 of their losses by single digit, by one score.
They're a competitive football team. They're not like, you're right. They're not Virginia. They're not some team that like Stanford, Cal. No, they're a competitive football team. Even the games they lost last year, they were in every game pretty much.
Well, and Shane nailed it in his press conference last night when he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but they've been, when you have a game like this, when it's an opener, you've been hearing, not just in the last week, you've been hearing all year, you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. They played well. I thought Virginia Tech played well. And you mentioned that they were, look, on that drive, they were basically right at the cusp of the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then another drive, they were moving effectively. Now, and I guess you echoed something that I've heard other fans say, man, they were going down to take the lead. Well, they would have had they scored, but I also am of the belief that South Carolina had done a pretty nice job of locking them down. So maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. Regardless, they didn't. But I'm not going to sit here and haggle over that. But I thought, they were up for that game.
Well, the point is, every time they had an opportunity to, do something, the South Carolina defense made a play.
Right.
And that's really what happened. Look, Drones was pressured on almost 45% of his dropbacks. And Drones has always struggled against pressure, and he struggled again yesterday.
Well,
he was like
15 of 35.
Yeah, he
and
was
2 picks.
And the pressure really was a problem for him. The pressure numbers, he was awful against the pressure, and he almost faced pressure on half his dropbacks.
Right.
And that was a huge thing. Now I will say this. Again, it was a lot of 50-50 balls, but 5 plays of over 25 yards against your pass defense. South Carolina can't let that happen.
No.
Because you're going to face better quarterbacks than Drones.
Soon.
You got to, and again, a lot of that, again, was just 50-50 balls. You had guys in position to make plays, but you got to make those plays in games coming up. Because when you go up against these higher-level QBs, especially in the SEC, you can't let that stuff happen.
No.
But that defense, the first 2 levels of that defense was really impressive, especially harassing the quarterback and playing the run.
803-404-6100. Let's get back on the phones. Justin is up next. Hey, Justin, how you doing, bud? We'll get Justin on here now. Hey, Justin, what's up,
Justin.
buddy? Yeah, they did. They did. Justin, thanks for the phone call, bud. I'm glad you had a good time. Again, it's a great ballpark. Listen, I don't know. I'm not here. How do I want to word this? I think there is, from some, there's this expectation that maybe even in winning by 13 points, South Carolina should have looked better relative to could have looked better. There's always an ideal you'd like to hit.
Sure.
Again, opening game, you've only gone against yourself. You don't have the luxury
Yeah.
of any kind of exhibition game.
You got a team, you really don't know what they're going to do. They got 2 new coordinators. They got a ton of guys coming in from the portal, Virginia Tech. You didn't know what they were bringing.
Right.
Like Shane talked about it last week on Carolina Calls. We had to watch tape of Phil Montgomery's Tulsa teams and the Baylor teams and the Auburn team. I mean, there was so much unknown with Virginia Tech that, that's why I thought it would take 1 or 2 quarters to kind of get your feet under you against a team. Now, it took longer, to be fair. It took 3 quarters. But, here's the thing. Are there things they got to clean up? Absolutely. They've got to get a guard to go with Ball. Ball was really good yesterday. Newsom and Anderson struggled mightily. So that's got to get cleaned up. Josiah Thompson was all right, but he had some moments that made you shake your head a little bit too.
I was told he's a little banged up as well, so that I think he was
that
hampered.
didn't help.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one fall, the kid from Virginia Tech fall on the hit that was the fumble, he picked up Newsom like it was blindside. God love Rodney. He went flying.
Right.
He had a rough day. He was probably the worst offensive lineman of the bunch. Boaz Stanley was all right. Now, Casey Henry was all right yesterday, too. Ball might have been the highest rated offensive lineman I believe they had yesterday. So there were some good things on the offensive line. But like always, Jay, we talk about O-line. 1 or 2 guys are off. That ruins the whole thing.
It's a 5-man unit.
So it was a mixed bag. Does it have to get better? Oh, hell yeah. But there were some, again, like some things yesterday. No one's saying it was perfect. No one's saying you walk out of there beating your chest like, oh, my God, we're unbeatable. But there are things that also you go, okay, I feel really good about that moving forward. That first drive, man, if you could bottle that first drive, dude, I'll be honest with you. I watched that first drive, I'm like, oh, my God.
Is that perhaps why there is a greater level of not disappointment, because you won, so there's no disappointment, but of like, God, I think that set the bar right away. I was like, we're going to score 8 or 10 touchdowns today.
They went down against Virginia Tech like Virginia Tech had 11 crash test dummies on the field. I mean, it was like Virginia Tech had no defense on the field at all. They go down and score the way they did, and you're like, oh, they're going to hang a 50-burger on these dudes.
And I think that might be part of the mindset.
I think so, too.
And then I think Brent Pry went, hey, fellas, although it probably wasn't fellas.
No.
We're gonna work a little harder from this point forward, okay?
And a couple things happened. Like the second drive, you had the 2 drops. You had the drop by Murph and the drop by Harbor that stopped that drive. That drive could have been a good drive.
The Harbor one too, because he, and look, that ball was a touch behind him, but not enough
bring it down.
to where you make that.
You got to bring it down. He had some space to maneuver after he caught it.
He did.
And then the third drive was the safety. And I felt like the drops and the safety combined, first of all, gave Virginia Tech some momentum on defense and kind of put Carolina offensively on their heels a little bit. And so, but again, Harbor's catch gets overturned, which I'm with you. You got to fix that rule, dude. If here's my thing, Jay. If I'm a running back and I get a tip of the ball over the goal line and somebody swats that damn thing in the parking lot, what is it?
I score.
If I catch a pass, I get 2 feet down, I am 5 yards out of bounds, and then the ball falls out of my hand.
Yeah.
That's not a score. And I'm not going to cuss, is asinine.
Right.
And I said the same thing when Barry and Brown had it happen in the LSU game the night before. I'm like, come on, guys. We're making this way too difficult.
Right.
So, there again, there's moments. Look, South Carolina was the better team, and eventually they proved they were the better team. Yeah. And I'll say this, yes, does the efficiency and success rates have to get better? Sure, but I'll tell you this. I love me some explosive plays, Jay.
Yeah.
And they had a couple of huge ones in the fourth quarter. Yes, they do.
Before we hit the break, I want to hit you with our Twitter polls today. Chime in at jphillips1075. What's the biggest concern after the Gamecocks win over Virginia Tech? A, injuries. B, offensive line play. C, sacks taken by Sellers. D, the wide receiver distribution. Didn't get a lot of guys involved is what I mean by that. What's the biggest positive is the second poll question. The Attaway Faison production. The defense was active. Lenoris to Nick, big play. Or the Vicari Swain punt return for a touchdown. So hit me up at jphillips1075. A lot of you already weighed in. Give you some early results. More phone calls, too. It's the postgame show.
5. They empty the backfield. Oscar Attaway goes out to the left side. Lenoris, quarterback draw straight at the middle. Breaks the tackle, 10-5. Are you kidding me? Opening drive, number 16. Leaves off where he left off a year ago. 15 yards, touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Lenoris Sellers. He had 7 rushing TDs a year ago. He gets his first on the opening drive in Atlanta.
Todd Ellis on the Gamecock Radio Network. South Carolina went right down the field, and everybody was like, all right.
This is going to be easy.
Cool. Glad I took the over.
So when's that Heisman ceremony in New York?
But then Virginia Tech settled in, as maybe we should have expected. South Carolina wins, though, by a final of 24-11. Of course, Lenoris responsible for another big TD later on in the ball game. And I think overall, a solid game from him. Give Virginia Tech credit. Again, how much will Mike Shula talk with Lenoris about, hey, a couple of plays here? And that goes back to one of the poll questions I asked. You know, was Lenoris, I don't want to say trying to do too much. I don't think that's what it is. But if you're going to grow and take those next steps, there are going to be those moments where you've got to realize I need to throw the football, or I need to throw the football away rather than the tuck and run. Now, will they find a balance? Because there's probably going to be a time, too, where maybe Shane comes over and says, hey, on that one, and I don't know, I'm not going to pick what, but hey, on that one, you know what you need to do? You need to run, man.
I know.
And it's fine. We're not going to holler at you.
Because that dude is, I'm telling you, when he takes off, it's first of all, he's as big as a defensive lineman.
Yes.
And well, the one thing watching him, he doesn't slow down when he cuts.
Right.
And most guys slow down when they cut. This guy doesn't.
That's what makes him him.
It's unreal. And so, like, I'm watching this yesterday, and I know, look, Mike Shula he's coordinated 2 games with Lenoris Sellers. What I'm hoping is this goes along, Mike finds a medium of maybe 5 or 6 design runs in a game for Lenoris. They had one on the first drive for the touchdown, ran one near the end of the half that got called back on a penalty, then didn't do it again until like the 4th quarter. Right. I just think he can affect his game. He can affect the game so much with his legs. I would like to see them incorporate, like I said, 5 or 6 design runs in a game. For nothing else, A, he can break it. And 2, it makes sure the defense remembers, oh, yeah, this guy can
exactly.
take off.
I think that's where it is for me, is that the defense, and it's not like, are y'all basically saying that defenses don't know he can? No, it's not that. But, if you can lull them into it, perhaps, and then pop them. But there's also going to be those times where, again, if it breaks down or it's not there,
you got to go.
Then go.
And I give him credit yesterday, and I'm with you. I think he's really making it a point to try to stay in the pocket and go through progressions. Yeah. On that ball, on the sack fumble, again, he's watching progressions. He didn't feel it until he was on the ground because he is looking downfield. So I think he's really trying, and if he can, like you said, it's such a happy medium, right? He's got to learn that instinct of staying in there, when to go, when to do this. If he gets it locked in, and I believe he will through this season, it makes him even more dangerous.
Every reason to believe that this will get, I don't want to say fixed, but it will get better, because look at last year. Mm-hmm. Look at the progression last year.
It's a process, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick here, let's get to Jeremiah up next on the AAA phone lines. Hey, Jeremiah, happy Labor Day. How are you? Good, man.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah, and thanks for the phone call. I think, I don't know if vanilla is fair. I also want to give credit. Like I say, I think we're overlooking the quality of opponent here. I don't know where I would put, if Virginia Tech was a Southeastern Conference school, I'm not sure exactly where they would be. I guess they're probably better than Kentucky and Arkansas.
Well, maybe Mississippi State and Kentucky.
Yeah.
Probably. They're somewhere near the bottom of the SEC. I think they're a competitive football team. We'll see what they're going to be as the year goes along. We don't know yet about anything with Virginia Tech. They're so new.
Right.
But I'm going to say this defensively, I think That's a solid defense, is what I'm trying to say. And I think they were doing some things on the back end, disguising some stuff and doing some things that made Lenoris have to, kind of lock in and look around. And I think also the offensive line had some problems. So, but I don't think to act like it's a scrub defense and it's all on you.
Right. I think there's a couple of plays, Jeremiah, that certainly, again, Michael wants some of them back. But I think, too, you'd like to think when you were trying to run the football the way you were, that you can do more than a yard a carry for a couple of times.
Besides the explosive plays, the success rate wasn't great running the ball overall.
Lots more to do on a Reaction Monday. Jay, Terry, it's the postgame show. Sure, a lot of you were at the ball game yesterday, but most of you probably weren't. Neutral site game on the road, et cetera, et cetera. How'd you watch it, and could you have watched it better? Maybe you were at a buddy's house. Maybe you're like a family member's house. Maybe you were at a sports bar, and you're like, they have a pretty cool setup. I'd like to have that. And, you say, could I have a sports bar setup? Yes. Yes, you could. Call Integrated Media. They'll get it done for you. 803-948-8327. If you can dream it up, they'll find a way to make it happen. Trust me on this, all right? I mean, they make house calls, too. So invite them in. Tell them what it is that you're looking for. Let Dave and the crew come over and say, all right, here, we can set this up for you. Maybe you want to do it outdoors. Nice weather in the fall for football season. Integrated can do that for you, too. One room, whole house, Wi-Fi that works everywhere, especially important if you're streaming your entertainment. 803-948-8327. No better ways to watch football or anything than with our good friends at Integrated Media. 4 o'clock on this Labor Day Monday. Welcome back in. Second hour of the post-game show coming at you from the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia, South Carolina, alongside Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. Appreciate you being with us. Many of you making your way back from Atlanta after yesterday's thriller. 24-11, South Carolina beats Virginia Tech to start 1-0. If you're wondering, what's Carolina ranked? We don't know yet. We have one more game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Christian and
the hoodie.
Are they playing? Is it North Carolina?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
I think so. They got some new coach. I've never heard of them. An unknown.
But we'll have that game.
He's never won a college football game as a head coach.
I know, right? Slacker. We'll have that one for you tonight. TCU is up at Keenan, and is that what 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I believe 7:30.
7:30. So polls tomorrow. I don't anticipate a big move for South Carolina.
No, I mean there's
maybe a spot, or I think Alabama will fall behind them.
Yep.
And that's probably it.
Because Clemson's going to fall, but not way past South
I don't
Carolina.
think Clemson won't and probably shouldn't fall out of the top 10.
Texas isn't going to fall.
Texas
that far.
isn't going to fall.
And
I think Ohio State will be number 1, obviously, and Georgia will be number 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And then
well, Penn State, that was a tough opponent. Penn State played Lackawanna Junior College. That was a tough one.
Which one did they play? Who did they play?
I forget.
I know they have Villanova, Nevada, and
they have one of the weakest non-conference schedules in the country.
I don't remember who.
Oh no! I'm sorry. It wasn't Lackawanna Junior College. It was Lackawanna School of Cosmetology. I apologize.
Well, either way, I would like to think. Well, I don't know. You're right. Penn State may hold it too.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see it probably Ohio State.
Because it was Ohio State,
Georgia.
Penn State, Texas, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
and
Georgia
then
will move up a spot. Who would they play? Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that Marshall's been destroyed by transfers.
Sadly, Marshall is quite literally now sort of a shell of itself. I want to believe that they'll get it back, and I think because that's a proud football program.
It's going to take a couple years to get that thing back together.
So you're sort of beating Marshall in name only, but Georgia, I'm not sure 45-7 did it justice.
No, it didn't.
Georgia was in complete control.
That thing was. Yeah, they were in neutral there for a long time. Yeah. They could have made that 145-7.
I think they could have. I really do think they could have.
Well, Georgia decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
We'll run the ball. Because what you and I talk about this coming up season.
Yeah.
What they got to do?
You got to run the ball.
Forget the quarterback thing for a minute.
It
run
wasn't
the ball.
Listen, it wasn't Beck last year, and it's not going to be. Stockton's a good quarterback. He's fine. He's going to be fine. I don't. Georgia's a lot like Ohio State. And Georgia's had better. Listen, I mean, Matt Stafford certainly has had a better career than any Ohio State quarterback's ever had in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've had a few here and there that have been okay, but what's Georgia known for? A big, giant offensive line and just run the ball.
Right. Huge offensive linemen, running backs who end up littering the NFL. And that's what Georgia does.
Yeah,
and they play defense and beat the hell out of you.
Right. And it's just like Ohio State. Instead of great running backs, which Ohio State has had their share, Ohio State has amazing wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a great offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Georgia when they won back-to-back with Stetson Bennett. I mean, Stetson Bennett wasn't throwing it 50 times all over the yard. That first year when they won it, they almost look at Stetson Bennett, only throw it when we tell you to, and when you do, throw it to McConkney or Bowers, and that's it.
That's it.
So, going back to the formula, Georgia's got to get back to their formula, and they're going to be fine.
And I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say their coach recognizes that.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, this weekend told you they ran it, 80 times against, and look, it's Marshall, I get it, but Kirby wanted to instill the idea, you know what we're going to do this year, fellas? Turn around and give it to the running backs. Yeah. And offensive line, we're going to start knocking people. We're going to pancake some dudes.
We got a lot of college football to get to, in addition to talking Carolina. In fact, I wish we could do. This is why I love my job. I should have just come in and hung with Tyler for a while because I got 5 hours worth of material here.
So much stuff.
I got so much to get to. Let me get to our poll questions real quick. What's the biggest concern? I got two. What's the biggest concern after the Gamecocks win over Virginia Tech? A, injuries. B, offensive line play. C, sacks taken by Sellers, which is I'm putting a little differently than offensive line play if you follow the nuance. D, wide receiver distribution. In other words, getting more wide receivers involved in the game. I was stunned, Terry. Stunned.
Mm-hmm.
That after more than 250 votes, 88.4% of people say offensive.
Stunning.
Shocked to find there's gambling in this establishment. 6% injuries, 4.4% the sacks, 1.2% the wide receivers. What's the biggest positive to come from the Gamecocks win over Virginia Tech? A, the Attaway Faison production. Again, they combined for 100 and each had better than 4 yards per carry. B, the defense was active. C, the Lenoris to Nick big play. D, the Vakari Swain punt return for a touchdown. And when I say biggest positive, especially when it comes to the Lenoris to Nick, I don't just mean that as an individual moment. I think that is a minor to moderate amount of mental weight lifted from those two. They've had a couple of moments here or there, but I think everybody has been clamoring for that type
play.
of play.
Right.
The big play, the home run ball. What was that, a
64
yards? You know, just get Nick in space, have him beat his man, catch the ball, throw it to. I mean, it was perfect.
It was perfect.
It was
Ready?
perfect.
O-line protected. Lenoris on play. By the way, Lenoris, they need to run play action. Lenoris is phenomenal in play action. Play action. Lenoris drops back in rhythm, footwork good, steps into it, throws a BB right into the hands of Nick. Nick catches it. By the way, the DB 5 yards behind Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Harbor dusted that cat, and he catches it in stride into the end zone. Perfect.
Yeah.
And the thing about that too, not only does everybody go like this, we did it. B, that thing goes in this thing called tape.
Yeah.
Other teams see this. Now you have to account for Harbor deep.
Yeah.
Which means you got to roll safeties, you got to roll coverages, which will leave other parts of the field open for other guys to make plays. That play is so large in so many reasons besides just that play, to your point.
And that's why I tweeted that out yesterday, and I put the word needed in all caps. And I'm not saying that's the one I think here, but to give you the results, let's see, 67.3%. So these are two runaways in terms of these, was the defense. So 2/3 of you say the defense production.
Yep.
Second was the Lenoris to Nick big play, 16.8. Attaway Faison production, 8.2. And the Vakari Swain punt return, 7.7. And there again, with Swain, it's not just the moment. That's South Carolina's first punt return for a touchdown in a dozen years.
Think about that for a minute. Think about that. With all the special teams talk we do, it's been 12 years since you had a punt return taken back to the house. And what also goes with that, Jay, is all the unknowns we had about special teams coming into Sunday. We just said this, don't hurt them. Don't hurt the team. Well, guess what? Yeah, you had the muff punt. By the way, I love this is the kind of stuff that you see later. I love after Swain muffs the punt, who's one of the first people out there? Beamer goes out there and hugs him and starts talking to him. Now, again, they let Kilgore go back there a few times, but they brought Swain back. And then Swain takes one all the way for a score.
After the gutsy coaching
which
call.
again, I'm like you. I'm like, well, should you really be doing that? But again,
I had a guy hit us on Twitter. Hang on, let me get to this. I had a guy on Twitter. I'm not going to find it in time, but he basically said, because he was at the game, he goes, the guy behind me said, if this guy didn't take it to the house, Beamer's in trouble, something like that, you know?
Right. Well, guess what? He did. And the other thing, too, Joyce hits the one field goal. Again, an easy one inside of 30, but he nails the field goal, hits the extra points. Punting, by the way, we haven't talked about this. 3 punts downed inside the 20.
Yeah.
To flip the field and to keep field position, in your favor. It was a good day for the special teams. A huge unknown, besides the muff, which Swain recovered. Everything else went pretty solid for your special teams on Sunday.
Almost 48 yards, man.
I mean,
average.
And the return and Virginia Tech got nothing in the return game.
No.
So overall, and the long snap, the holder held. And then we talk about gunners. Harbor blew up a dude on the one punt return.
Yeah.
And so everything for the special teams except for the muff, you couldn't have asked for a more solid outing. Very nice.
Man, I wish I could find. I just can't find that tweet. But there was a guy that hit us and said, it was funny. But he said, "Hey, the guy behind me was like, this better." Basically, this better work. But I'm not going to lie. That's why I say I'm going to come on here and be honest with you all. I felt the same way. I didn't necessarily know if it was a mistake, but I was like, oh. Because I get the starting at the 31-yard line is a perfectly comfortable place to start a drive.
And remember, the game was kind of in that moment where you're like, do you really? Plus, we all have this, concern about special teams. So you're going, you really want to do this again?
Right.
You sure?
Right.
I didn't think, wow, what a terrible mistake. But I looked at Tyler, I go, you really want to do this?
Yeah, I would have just. I was like, you got 26 to the 31. Take it.
Yeah,
Let's go. You were starting to do a little bit, but
I give Shane credit for it. And he said in the post game, look, we were kind of stuck in neutral here. I was looking for a play, and sometimes when you make a cover, make a unit do it a second time, maybe you can get something.
Yeah.
And so, hey, it worked. Thumbs up, Coach.
Oh, yeah,
nice work, man.
He nailed it.
Nice work.
Let's get to Michael up next on the AAA phone lines here on this Reaction Monday. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Doing well, sir.
Doing all right.
What you got? Did we lose Michael?
Michael.
Oh, that's too bad.
Hey, buddy.
Michael, call back.
Call back, or thanks for saying hi. We appreciate it anyway.
Well, yeah, maybe just being nice.
He was nice and clear there. I don't know what happened to him.
I don't know. All right. Well, we'll get him back in a second.
Think we didn't pay the bill and they just shut down the line?
No comment. I'll plead the fifth. I tell you what. Do we have time? Yeah, we do. All right. Can we get to
Which one you want, bub?
Coach Beamer, number 11, please? Shane Beamer giving us about a minute here on the performance of Nick Harbor.
Yeah, really proud of Nick. I mean, how about him covering punts too, Rick? I mean, what a great tackle he had when he went downfield as the gunner and made a solo tackle, returning kicks for us. But when he was obviously disappointed. It was a heck of a catch, and I hate that they overturned it, but I get it. And I told Nick, you're gonna, come back and make another one as well. And he did. I mean, what a play. He's a weapon. He's just going to continue to get better. Nobody works harder. I'm so happy for him. He's such a great young man. And it's pretty awesome. The day that you guys were one of the days that you guys were out at practice that we gave you media availability, and we were in the indoor, and Hunter was there, and some of you guys took some pictures of Hunter out on the field that day. Well, there was a play that from the day before, the same play that Nick scored on Harbor today. We had ran it the same play the day before in practice, and Lenoris did not throw the post to Nick on that play. So Hunter was at practice, and Mike Shula came over to Hunter and said, hey, go tell Lenoris when we call that play to throw the post. And lo and behold, that's the play that we called today, and he sure as hell threw the post on that one today for a touchdown. So credit Hunter for coaching up Lenoris on that one to throw the post, and great job by Nick going up. And our offensive line, too, protection-wise, holding up in there and giving him time to throw it.
The way I see it, I think Hunter Beamer deserves as much credit as we have given our own Elijah Campbell for calling a big play. Now, granted, Elijah's was, the opening play of the spring game, but it was 29-yard per play average.
I feel like Hunter really just kind of coached it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So Hunter is like
hey, bro.
I would love to know, what is that conversation?
Can you see?
Right?
Can you see like Hunter walking up to like 6'4", 240
Lenoris? Coach Mike says you need to throw the post.
Yeah, throw the post. Okay.
All right, little man, I got you.
Appreciate you. Pat him on the head a little bit.
I got you.
A little fist bump action or something.
I got you. Don't worry, I'll get it done. But no, good call. Good call. Listen, we know Nick Harbor has devoted all of his athletic time this calendar year to football, and we talked a lot about the steps that can help him take, and the more steps he still needs to take. So excellent first game minus the drop, but look, receivers are going to drop the ball sometimes. I'm not going to sit here and hold that against him.
That's going to happen. And look,
and again, that wasn't the most perfectly thrown. When they're right in the breadbasket and you drop it, then you get what. But that was a little behind, and he was in full stride.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, you're right. It wasn't perfect. You got to catch those, but you're right. It wasn't perfect. The thing about watching Nick, I think, what we do is every little thing is being magnified because of his development, right?
Yeah. Lots more to get to. Phone lines, 803-404-6100. We'll get back to you on the other side as the postgame show.
The best thing about when you have something going on with you is when the service is personalized. It's not some cookie cutter thing. It's not someone half listening to you and they throw some bottle down. Hey, take that. There you go. Works for everybody. Because everybody's different, right? That's what's so great about the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. If you go in because you just got stuff going on, you don't feel like you used to, you make that phone call at 803-875-MENS. You go in and do the free confidential consultation. And if Dr. Dan and the crew think you do have low testosterone, they then will set you up on a program specifically designed for you, not some cookie cutter stuff. It's designed for you, not Doug Flutie, not Frank Thomas, to get you feeling like you again. Make that call, 803-875-MENS. Get personalized service from our friends from the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Again, 803-875-MENS.
All right, a diamond formation with Sellers in the middle. He wants to throw it. He's got a post route, and here comes Nick Harbor. Caught at the 10. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Nick Harbor. 64 yards out. They blew the starter gun, and he went for quick record on that one. Nobody getting him. Boom!
Todd Ellis on the call as Nick Harbour caught that one from Lenora Sellers. Like as we said earlier, they needed that. Not just yesterday, not in the moment. I think the program needed that to happen.
You know, cool
Lift
stat
that
I saw on
weight.
SportsCenter last night.
Yeah.
After they showed the Carolina highlights, they showed Shane talking about playing against Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Last 8 games in the SEC, guess who's got the best record in the SEC?
I guess it'd be South Carolina.
7-1.
Yeah. Not bad.
Stat. Just telling you, it's a stat. I didn't come up with it. SportsCenter did.
Yeah, that's good.
Just saying.
That's good. Welcome back in. 803-404-6100. Got poll questions running. By the way, I have another one. And yes, I was being a smart aleck about it. Did I text you this one? I did, right?
Yes, you did.
On Saturday night?
I liked it.
With FSU beating Alabama, it says today because I did this Saturday night. With FSU beating Alabama, which of these two insufferable fan bases will be most insufferable over the next few weeks? A, Alabama, in quotes, fire everybody. B, FSU, we're back.
Again.
You could still vote, by the way. I left this running until the end of today's show. You got about an hour left to vote on this one.
I'm going to say this, man. Florida State's fan base is very, very underrated how insufferable they are.
Well, yeah, that's true. But folks around here, we got used to them when I was younger. Now, we only, saw Carolina beat them the once.
So that was the old Metro Conference when they were
yeah, sort of.
in the independence and all that stuff back then.
Yeah, no Metro Conference football officially, but Carolina beat them 84. Other than that, FSU won those games.
Yeah.
A couple of them were good. A couple of them weren't.
We run into the Bowdens, man. That's a tough road back
I remember a game that I thought was going to be fun. After Carolina had pulled off a big win in Raleigh against NC State and then hosted FSU the next week here. It's like a top 15 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It's 59-0. It wasn't. It wasn't fun.
That probably wasn't much fun.
It wasn't fun.
I remember, again,
I was like, how'd that happen?
being from Maryland, having Florida State beat your brains in every year in football back in those days.
It wasn't fun.
That's no fun, man. Florida State all the time.
Right now, Alabama's insufferability is out front of FSU's 56-44. So if you want to change that up, or if you think that's about right.
You know what I think? The thing about Alabama fans is now, well, guess what? Welcome back to college football with the rest of us.
Yeah.
You had it a level above for a long time.
I don't know if they realized that it wasn't just. And listen, the school and the support of football is generational.
Yes.
And it matters a lot. But then you had the greatest coach to ever do it.
Right.
And now you're realizing, and poor Kalen DeBoer for having, I mean, when you have to follow the guy, but sometimes there's not just following the guy. It's following the guy.
You're following a guy nobody else has ever followed.
No one's done this.
By the way.
No one's done this.
And, man, look, I get Alabama's fan base because I understand it. But we always say this. When you have a dynasty or a high-level, iconic Hall of Fame coach, don't ever take it for granted. And one of those are across the street right now.
Yeah.
Don't take that mess for granted.
It's hard, man.
Because you just start to think, well, it's us, the program. No. Don't get sideways now. Not saying it's not.
Or we deserve it. Or
right.
We're
it's
entitled.
Always gonna be
we're
this
entitled
way.
to this. Yeah.
No, you're not. But I'll say this about that game real quick. What surprised me. Look, I'll raise my hand. I thought Alabama was going to beat the brakes off of those
I picked
cats.
45-10. I'll own it. I picked 45-10.
You, I, and Elijah sat here and said they are going to curb stomp Florida State. Alabama, it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to get physically beaten up.
Yeah.
Alabama got physically beaten up. They acted like they never saw a tape of a Gus Malzahn offense ever. No one had any tape of it.
FSU is another one like Virginia Tech, and I know Carolina won the game and ended up doing so by 13 points. But FSU, all year, all you've heard. And then you have your quarterback run his mouth. By the way, Tommy Castellanos is selling T-shirts.
He should. God love you, Tommy. Go for it, baby.
But I mean, but Norvell could tell. Nobody outside of this campus thinks you can do jack squat. Nobody. And he wasn't wrong.
No. And I'll tell you, but Alabama's defense, was so undisciplined. I mean, and when they were in position, they couldn't make a tackle. I mean, because look, if you watch, we're just dopes who watch too much football. But we've seen enough Gus Malzahn offenses. We know what's coming. It's a lot of eye candy. It's a lot of stuff to get you out of position, a lot of things to make you not be disciplined. And Alabama fell for all of it. I was like, hey, Womack, you get paid a lot of money to coordinate that defense, dude.
Right.
Come on, man. Woo!
We have Michael back on the line. We lost him a second ago. He is back on here, hopefully this time for good. Hey, Michael, how are you, bud?
Hey, Michael. You all right, man?
All right, Michael. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
I'm with him, by the way. I picked 27-17 as well. So, listen, it's not difficult to see and understand where the offensive line problems are, and how, the question now is how quickly can they be addressed? Because they're only going to be addressed with the current personnel.
Right. And you have talent in that room, and that's the thing about it. Look, Lenoris was only pressured on like 8 dropbacks, but almost every one of them ended up in a sack.
Four of them, because I guess the safety doesn't count as a sack.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, because you dropped him in the end zone. So I think there was 5 sacks on 8 pressures.
Yeah.
But look, here's the thing too. The pass blocking was better than the run blocking. The run blocking had some issues. They got it going. At one point, Jay, it was 8 carries for 9 yards by running backs, and they did get better as the game went along. I think this isn't 2 years ago. That disaster. You're not nowhere. I think this is much better. You have a chance for it to get better because, like we've talked about all offseason, there's talent in that room. And really, the biggest problem to me was the one guard spot. Mm-hmm. The one guard spot was a real issue. And so you got to figure that out. But I'm not saying this because we're sitting here, we're supposed to be blowing sunshine, because we've talked about the issues of this offensive line. I don't feel like it's as gloomy and doomy as some people think today.
Agreed.
Does that make sense?
Agree, because I think, look, as I said, and I know you've already agreed with this, the opening drive was fantastic. And then it just bogged down. Mm-hmm. And how much of that was because Virginia Tech figured a few things out? Some. How much of it was Mike Shula not wanting to go conservative, or as we had a caller say earlier, vanilla, but you want to establish the run game, and you couldn't for a bit. Ultimately, I thought you got the run game going.
Yeah.
Not dramatically, but yeah, I think Carolina ended up, and let's remember, too, the net gain was 125, but they had some bad losses.
Yeah, I mean, you had a couple nice explosives, especially that phase-on run on second and a mile when he went for like 31 yards.
I think it was 30 on a second and 33.
So they had a couple of explosives. Attaway had like a 23-yard run. But success rate, consistency is where you got to get, where you can consistently give some holes to your running back, so you're not sitting at 2nd and 9.
And I didn't mind. I like that one, too, and I hope that continues. If Attaway's the starter, so be it. But I think they got both of them involved, and I thought both guys ended up feeling good about their production in a relative sense, right? All right, we'll come back. Plenty more to get to, some more sound from Coach, get into some of the other things going on around the SEC and the country, too. 803-404-6100, Reaction Monday on the postgame show. Griffin Pools and Spas has been family-owned and helping your family live the life since 1976. The late, great Stan Griffin founded the company way back then. He's no longer with us, but the company is still family-owned and still treating their clients like they would treat themselves. Custom pool designs. They're committed to getting it done on time for you with top-quality construction. And they know, as I've said many times, look, if your backyard doesn't have a pool in it and then it does, They're going to be digging a big hole in the yard. And yes, it will get disrupted for a little bit until it's finished. And they're committed to getting that done for you in such a great way. Plus, low maintenance equipment installation, communication with you from start to finish, fantastic equipment and what they do every single day to help family dreams come true. 803-957-2121 and just steps away from the Lake Murray Dam, always online, griffinpoolsandspas.com.
Check on the traffic in the Midlands. Obviously, lots of construction like always. Labor Day weekend, though, but still, there are some lanes that, kind of get narrow. I-26 between Bush River Road, exit 108A, and Sandy Run Road, exit 125. I-126 between Hugie and I-26, and 120 between exit 64 and exit 65. Also, Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. Bridge has traffic blocked there as well. Traffic, checking it right now. A lot of construction, obviously. Labor Day weekend, still some lanes could be narrowed out. I-126, Hugie, and I-26. Also I-26 between Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road. I-20 between I-26, exit 64, and exit 65. Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. There is a bridge block there as well. Coming back on the postgame show, more conversation about the Carolina win over Virginia Tech yesterday in Atlanta.
felt like that was a catch. As we all seen, I had both feet in bounds, both feet touchdown. Still had the ball in my hand. Stepped out of bounds. Still had the ball in my hand. And the DB, he made a great play. Great lasting effort. But it is what it is. It happens. I just got to keep control of the ball all the way down to the ground now. So we'll learn from it. But it was an amazing play by the DB.
Nick Harbor on the touchdown that wasn't. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you on this Reaction Monday. Happy Labor Day. Safe travels. If you're stuck in it, like Terry said, we'll keep you company. We're here till 6. But do be safe out there because there's a lot of folks, not just those of you who live around here, but a lot of folks maybe coming back from the coast that are making their way through.
A couple days off.
And if y'all are with us, too, and you're just like a stranger in these parts, howdy.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Appreciate you being with us. I thought it was a touchdown, and I thought the Brown one on Saturday in Clemson for LSU was a touchdown. I know we mentioned it briefly in the first hour today. I agree with the announcing crews on both games. I agree with others that have weighed in on this. I thought the point you made, Terry, that is backed up by something Nick said. If it's a running back and he crosses the goal line. And for, a millisecond, the nose of the ball crosses and then a defender knocks the ball down, it's a touchdown. Did you have control as you made your way through it? For Nick in that point, or for Brown, they had 2 feet in. They touched the ground again, still with full control of the ball. Honestly, once Nick went out of bounds, like in my opinion, there's the touchdown.
Well, isn't a play dead when it goes out of bounds typically?
Yeah. So, we can sit here and haggle over it. And that's why I keep bringing up the LSU one, too. I technically have no dog in either hunt. All right? I'm a guy on the radio. I think both of those are touchdowns. I'm not here to you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And look, had that not counted, and I don't know, right? Doesn't matter now. And that's another thing that sort of, and a lot of times, okay, doesn't matter now. Well, it does, though, because it's going to happen to somebody somewhere, and this isn't about LSU or about Carolina. This is about college football. And if this is the bar that's being set, and you still, and really, this year, remember, we have upheld. We don't have confirmed stands or reversed.
Right.
We have upheld or reversed. I don't even know. Let's go back to the old stands for a minute because there is one angle that appears to show the ball with Nick, and I guess with Brown too, really, the ball might have touched the ground. Okay, it might have, but he still is controlling the ball as he lands.
Yeah, I don't get this whole thing of you have to survive the ground 5 yards out of bounds. That's what just gets me. Barry and Brown had the same thing happen. Once you have the ball in your mitts and you get foot inbounds in college or 2 feet in the NFL, to me, it's a touchdown. And then if you fall out of bounds and the ball squirts out of your hand, whatever. Now, if you go up in the end zone to make a catch and you have the ball in your hands and you come down with a foot and the DB knocks it out of your hands, you're in the field of play, right? That's a different animal. But once you land in and you go out of bounds and you're falling out of bounds and then all of a sudden the ball pops out, I just have a real problem with that.
I do too.
And I don't care who's playing. I remember, look, it happened years ago in the NFL with Dez Bryant, the playoff game with the Dallas Cowboys. Again, I'm not some big-time Cowboy fan, but I thought that was a bad call. To me, you got the ball in your hands, you got your feet in, you land on the ground, play's over if you got the ball. We're making this too hard.
And I feel like, look, and I don't know, the Virginia Tech defender begins to make contact with Nick and the ball as Nick is technically now out of bounds.
Right.
So is that not even should that matter?
I just think you're out of bounds now. Once you've established yourself in bounds, in the end zone, with a foot in college, with the ball in your hand, and then you're falling out of bounds, I just think you've scored a touchdown.
Right.
That's just me. And I'm not just saying that because it's South Carolina. I just
That's
think
what
in
I'm saying.
general.
Yeah. I mean, because it's going to happen somewhere else along the way. Look.
My head hurts. To
Yeah.
be honest with you, Jay, I got no bleeping clue what a catch is anymore.
Right.
I mean, by this standard, you can catch the ball, have 2 feet in, you're falling out of bounds, you roll over 3 times, you're going to get up, and the ball falls off your chest. Guess what? It's not a touchdown anymore.
Well, and again, I am under the impression on the multiple angles with both of these plays, Saturday and Sunday, that, okay, you can argue that the ball touches the ground, but those young men still had control of the ball. Like, in other words, as you fall, where you hold it, maybe it touches the ground, but you're still holding it.
Right. You still are in possession of the football as it touches the ground.
It didn't bounce. You didn't let go of it and then,
Right.
because I've seen guys do, we've seen plenty of plays where it looks like a DB makes an interception and you realize it skipped.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
and but it looks like he got it and he rolls, and you're like, oh no, you can see it, boop, boop, and skip. You don't see that in either one of these plays. So
No, look, thank God it didn't have an effect on the outcome of the game or the LSU Clemson
Right.
game. And, again, that's one of those
did
things.
LSU win?
Did they? How about those guys? We'll get to that. We got plenty of time still. I mean, I sit there and but to South Carolina's credit, you get
sorry,
screwed.
not sorry.
No, you're not sorry. Stop it. Don't. No, you're not sorry. With that,
I am.
no, you're not. You're not. Like, for an example, okay, so you get screwed out of a touchdown, or in my opinion, you do.
Yep.
You kick the field goal, you get points.
Yep.
But that's a 4-point swing there.
It's big.
And then Virginia Tech gets the ball. They're going downfield, and that's where, on that next possession, it looked like they were stuffed on the 3rd down and short. But then they went through an official review, and they respotted the ball, and all of a sudden, Virginia Tech got a 1st down again.
Right.
I believe they went down the field and kicked a field goal. And now all of a sudden, you're still in a game where if you had 4 more points, the score looks a little different. But again, to South Carolina's credit, they overcame it and kept going.
You began to lock down and make some
And
things
so, but those are moments in games, Jay, where, again, like I'll go back real quick since you brought up the Clemson LSU game. I mean, LSU missed the field goal after Barry and Brown, they got screwed out of the touchdown.
Right.
Then Clemson gets the ball, but the LSU defense manned up and they got to stop. Look, adversity happens, bad officiating happens, all these things happen. What do you do afterwards? What are you going to do about it?
Right.
And in both cases, South Carolina and LSU, what did they do about it? They didn't let it beat them.
Right.
That's what you got to do, man.
So,
That's what you got to do.
Good for them. I didn't realize LSU had won, though, so I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah, they did. I know you probably weren't paying attention to that.
803.
not sorry.
All right, that's enough. I'm sorry. I was.
Hey,
It's those of you who
you're
in my
not
life.
sorry. Stop saying you're sorry because you know you're not.
Those of you in my life.
As you
who
smile.
are
If you're watching us on video at the Game
concerned.
TV radio, our boy Jay Phillips is saying he's sorry with this big damn smile on his face.
They call this Cheshire Cat. Right?
Yes.
Oh, we'll see. All right. All right, we'll come back on the other side, a little Jay or nay. And I tell you, sorry, not sorry. I am really sorry about how poorly, not just me, but how I performed in the wild card show.
We were awful.
So
awful.
We're giving away some beer. That's what we'll tell you. And we'll tell you who when the postgame show returns. All right, welcome back in. 11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock on this Labor Day Monday. For those of you enjoying the day off, cool. Thanks for being with us. If you're working like us, thanks for being with us. I was going to take the day off, but then I couldn't. So I'm here.
Yeah, I tell you, the
This place.
grind you're going through, sitting here
Yeah, no,
talking
this
sports
place.
on Labor Day, you going to be all right?
I
You're
really do.
okay?
Seriously, we got an hour and change left, and I've got about 3 hours worth of stuff.
We could do this for hours.
Congratulations to Eddie. He and Clarence played against Elijah, Terry, and me on Friday's Wild Card Showdown, the first one of the new football season. Eddie was not good. Neither was Clarence. They were both 2-3. However,
They were Nostradamus compared to us.
each of us was a very, very disappointing 1-4.
Man.
Technically, of the three of us, Terry wins over the other two because he was closest to the tiebreaker number, which is why Eddie won. The total offense for Arch Manning was the tiebreaker. And young Arch accounted for just 208 total yards. So Eddie was a lower number than Clarence. Terry reverse Bob Barkered Elijah. But 1-4. My win was LSU. Your win was Auburn. Elijah's win was Utah.
So we all three got different ones for our one.
Yep.
Man, that was pathetic.
Yep.
That was pathetic.
Not good.
We got a new segment called Man That Really Sucks, sponsored by Vacuums Etc. in Irmo, Lake Murray,
see
and
what you did
Columbia.
there.
You know what sucked? Us.
Yes.
Us. We sucked. Man, we sucked. 3 wins between all three of us.
It's not good.
Massively embarrassing.
Not good.
No, that was not good. All right. So, yeah, our new buds at Vacuums Etc. Irmo, Lake Murray at 735 Saturn Parkway, and in Columbia, 3310 Forest Drive. The first sucking was Jay, Terry, and Elijah.
Yep.
Not good. That we passed Arch Manning. See, I was going to have Arch Manning in the Man That Really Sucked, but we sucked worse.
Did Arch Manning really?
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he did if you just look at the numbers, but I mean, do we not give enough credit to the fantastic Ohio State defense?
Well, to a point, but when Arch had time to do things, he just wasn't very good. I mean, his 37% off-target percentage is like one of the worst you're ever going to see. When he had his chances to make plays, he couldn't. He didn't complete a pass over 5 yards like the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I know.
Don't get me, look, I will bow and give Matt Patricia his credit.
I thought Ohio State's defense.
Matt Patricia did a hell of a job in disguising coverages. Arch was confused.
Yeah, I was
you know
going to
what Arch
say.
played like? Arch played like a redshirt freshman who was playing against a really good football team. I'm going to say this. While the whole world's going to beat up on this guy, this might be the best thing to happen to him in Texas.
It might be, but I mean, I am one who's not because I think too. And listen, here's the thing: Arch Manning did nothing other than have good high school tape to warrant the level of praise and the projections that have been placed upon him. But now, the critics of Arch Manning are basically going, dude, how come you're not your Uncle Peyton in his 10th year in the NFL?
Right. Here's what's going to happen. Why this might be the best thing. The hype train's going to go to somebody else now. You know what Arch Manning can do? He can go to work without the spotlight of this guy's going to win the Heisman or blah, 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 blah.
I mean, he didn't ask for any of that.
No, and it's not his fault. It's the media's fault. But now he can work, and everybody's going to leave him alone. And by the middle of the year, we're going to look up and see a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah,
that's just how I
he's
feel
gonna
about
be.
Arch Manning.
He's going to be fine. But yeah, he's 19. He's a red shirt. Again, you're in an incredibly difficult place to play. It's your first start. They're the reigning national champion, and we mentioned it earlier. Well, listen, if you said to me, "Hey, Jay, you've been watching college football a long time. When you think of Ohio State, what do you think of?" I'll give you 2, one on each side of the ball. I think of amazing, game-changing wide receivers on offense, and I think of some of the best linebackers to ever play football on defense. And both showed out enough when they needed to. Ohio State wasn't great.
No, look, I'll be honest with you.
And Texas should have
won the game.
Texas's defense is going to be fine.
Texas should have won the game. They were better. In the big plays, in the big moments, Ohio State won all the big moments. Texas was 1 of 5 on 4th down. It killed them. Yeah. Look, when Arch had his moments.
And that goal line play, man, you score that, the whole game's different.
It is.
But you didn't because Ohio State's defense stopped you.
Look, Arch's biggest problem was very sloppy mechanics. He's got to get himself, like when that 3rd down throw, that could have got him a first down to keep the game going late. He threw that thing off his back foot and side. It was a mess.
Yeah.
But let's give Ohio State credit. They did a really nice job on defense to confuse a young man who got easily confused.
Yeah.
So let's not make too much of Arch Manning's game. But here's my J or nay for you.
Yeah.
The LSU defense, what they did against Clemson, is LSU now a real contender for the whole thing.
They already were,
For the
so
whole
I'll just
thing.
give you a double J because they already were.
You
in
know
my
who picked them
opinion.
to win the national title? Nick Corso.
Yeah, all right. Well, Lee didn't miss one the other day, so why not, man? Headlines of the day and Gamecock Notebook. Plenty more from Shane coming up.
Really, just maybe some holiday traffic coming back, maybe a few little slowdowns in construction zones. Like always, we have construction. I-26 between Hugie and I-26, I-126 rather. I-26 between Bush River Road, exit 108A, and Old Sandy Run Road, exit 125. I-20 between I-26, that's at 64 and 65, Broad River Road. Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane, the bridge is blocked there. Jump back in here, our 5 o'clock news, sponsored by our buds from Integrated Media. That is next on the post-game show on a Reaction Monday, right here on the game.
It is 5 o'clock news time here on Labor Day Monday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the postgame show along with Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. We're in downtown Columbia, wherever you might be, traveling on this holiday, hanging out up the lake, doing whatever. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you. South Carolina beats Virginia Tech 24-11 to open the 2025 college football season. This is the Aflac Kickoff Classic over in Atlanta. Gamecocks went right down the field on the opening drive of the game, and then things bogged down for a bit, but the Gamecock defense never allowed a touchdown. Nick Harbor had a big play catch from Lenora Sellers late in the ball game to help seal the deal. Bakari Swain with the punt return. Gamecocks had a touchdown overturned because of a technicality in the rules, which also happened in the Clemson game. But overall, Shane Beamer pleased with the performance. One of the big moments of yesterday's game, though, and we'll start with this, and we'll jump around to some of the things Coach had to say, not only in the news, but in our Gamecock notebook this hour. But one of the, I think a pivotal moment, Terry, is I think pivotal is a fair adjective to label this with, right?
Yeah.
Here is Shane Beamer late in the game, fourth quarter. South Carolina forced Virginia Tech to punt. Tech had a penalty in terms of procedure on that punt, and Shane could have had the 5 yards added to the end of the return, or he could have made them re-kick. And when he made them re-kick, Bakari Swain scored a touchdown. Here was Shane's reasoning behind not taking 5 extra yards.
Yeah, I just told our team in the locker room, there's a lot of coaches that would just say, hey, we'll take the extra 5 yards, and not us. Anytime an old special teams coach told me like 20 years ago, not my dad, David, that'd be way too fitting if it was him, but another special teams coach told me nothing good for the punt, for the kicking team ever happens after a re-kick. And I'm sick in the head. I was having PTSD to the 2009, thank you. You clearly remember 2009 Clemson game where we kicked off to C.J. Spiller, Jacoby Ford, and Ellington, I think, maybe, and we were all sides. And then we came back over to the sideline, and I had that voice in my head, nothing good happens after a re-kick, and I let DJ Swearinger and Stephon Gilmore and those guys talk me into re-kicking, and then C.J. Spiller took it back 80 yards for a touchdown. So I was thinking of that, but really it was just we really felt like we had an advantage on when they punt the football with our people out there, whether blocking a punt, which we came close on a couple of them, or returning one. And because we were able to generate some pressure on them, they're very cognizant of getting a punt block. So our guys did a great job. And guys that are DQ Smith's out there. I mean, he's double teaming a guy, and it was really, really cool. And then so proud of Bakari Swain. He's a weapon, and it was really neat for him to do that, and how fitting that is, playing Virginia Tech and with their history, my dad's history of special teams, to score. I know Joe D's ready, glad this week's over, because I'm always amped up about special teams, but this week especially with everything that we had going. But really, what a play, and we needed it too. We weren't playing great on offense, and we needed a spark at that point.
So there it is, because I think the majority of folks, based on some things that we've gotten on Twitter, certainly the way I felt, I think, Terry, the way you said you felt when you were watching, it's not the question. It's just like, ooh, because right. I get where his philosophy is. And believe me, I can still see CJ returning that kick in 2009, because I sat in that end zone where he ran towards the student section. I sat in the south end zone. And I can still see that happening. But I think, he felt like, all right, we can get this done. I would have taken the 5 yards.
You know what else? And I don't disagree with you at all, because we were all looking at each other like, you want to do this? Because, we got the muff punt in the back of our head.
Yeah.
Swain muffed a punt.
Yeah.
So you want to, in the way this thing is going right now, because the momentum is kind of like, been evened up a bit, and really Virginia Tech might have had a tad bit more at that time.
They were feeling better.
Yeah, you were sitting there going,
you were still winning, but they were feeling better.
But to Shane's credit, nothing good comes from when you re-kick.
Gutsy call.
It worked.
It worked beautifully.
Nice move.
Even if, because I thought twice, well, he's going to get tackled, but at least you got a nice return.
When he got around the 10 or 15, he started running into some, there was some stuff there, right?
Yeah.
But to his credit, he broke a tackle, made a little spin move.
The spin move, the video game move was awesome. And then two more big strides, and you realize his strides, how long they are. Mm-hmm. And then what he dove felt like the 5 yard line.
Well, you forget that coming out of high school, he was an athlete.
Yeah.
They looked at him. He's like, we're going to figure out where to play this athlete, but this guy's a massive athlete. You saw him on that return.
And again, it's South Carolina's first punt return for a touchdown in 12 seasons.
Did you know that before you read it?
I did not. If you had asked me, because I know, Devo had some kick returns, but I would not have known how long it had been. I probably wouldn't have said 12 years. I might have said it hasn't happened under Shane.
Right.
But I would not have known that you had to go all the way back to really what was arguably the best season South Carolina's ever had, which was 2013. So, anyway, good stuff from Shane on that one. We'll have more from Coach coming up in just a little bit. Continuing our integrated media headlines of the day. Ohio State, of course, holding on to beat Texas in the game of the week. Congratulations, by the way, to Coach Corso in his final game. He got all his picks right.
I know.
Including Florida State. And I was like, the only reason he picked Florida State is like, that's my school.
That's my school.
And I was like, you'll miss that one. But everything else I agree with. And then Florida State ends up winning the game.
Did you see the cool thing where every school he either played for or coached for won on over the weekend?
Oh, really?
Every school he either coached for or played for won.
Nice. But cut number 28, please, on our list today, Terry Ford. Here is Matt Patricia. Yes, that Matt Patricia on his debut as a defensive coordinator for the Buckeyes.
But, always appreciative of my situation, always glad to be out there to be able to coach and coach great players here at Ohio State. The thing about college, again, like I think I mentioned this during camp, I think I really appreciate those preseason games now. I really do, because there's definitely things in the game today. It's like operationally, communication-wise, and all that stuff. And, the sideline gets a little nuts. There's a lot of players out there. It's not the, 40-some that are in an NFL active roster. So, but like I said, just a great environment. It's loud, man. This place is loud. I love it. I absolutely love it. The fans, you don't get that kind of, noise in an NFL game. So I'm super appreciative of that. I'm going to play home every game. If we can figure that out, that'd be great. I'd be really excited about that.
14-7 final score for the Buckeyes. The reigning national champions beat Texas. Terry and I were mentioning it earlier, for those of you who just tuned in, Arch Manning is getting beat up as if he was, a fourth-year senior who had 30-something starts under his belt and was supposed to go down and lead a mighty Texas victory on the road. He's not those things, and Ohio State is incredibly difficult to beat in Columbus. They're incredibly difficult to beat anywhere, despite what some Michigan fans might want to say. But I look, that was an ugly game.
It was an ugly game. Look, the kid for Ohio State, Julian Sayin, didn't play very well.
I mean, notice no one's talking about how poorly he played.
He hit one shot down the field in the entire game.
He had 100 yards in the air. That was it. I mean, Arch doubled him up production-wise.
Again, to me, what you saw was a redshirt freshman playing at the Horseshoe in Columbus against a really, by the way, who won the national championship last year?
Yeah, right.
I know they've got a lot of turnover, but still, that's a difficult place to play, and that's a team with a lot of talent, and they went in there and they exposed Arch to being the inexperienced quarterback that he is right now. It doesn't mean he's going to be a bust. I don't know what Arch Manning's going to be. If you ask me to put money on, I think he's going to be a good quarterback before it's all said and done.
Right.
But this idea that I had a couple people text me, "Oh man, he sucks." Well,
see, I just can't. I can't abide by that, man.
I'm like,
one game is your first start,
right? We've lost, and part of this was the hype that he had nothing to do with. By the way,
right?
We have lost the idea of patience.
Yeah,
we've got so many hot takers who want to be heard that we forget that sometimes it takes a guy a little bit of time to get himself together.
Well,
right?
we're taking the same mindset that bothers, at least for me, bothers me at the NFL level. Oh, the rookie, he's terrible. No, he's not terrible. The NFL is very different. Playing in Columbus in your first start, and there's a lot of nerves, and you're seeing things that you haven't seen before. Could he have played better? Of course he could have played better. But again, to those who felt like Arch Manning should have been Uncle Peyton when Peyton was 30,
It's
like that's not going to happen. If he was Arch Johnson, nobody holds it against him.
Right? Nobody cares. You know the thing about it too. We got a great example of it here. Again, let's rewind to last year's Old Dominion game.
Yeah.
and God love Lenoris.
All right.
Then look at Lenoris against Missouri,
Right.
and A&M, and
Clemson.
a different player.
Yeah.
It's called patience.
Yeah.
You got to give these guys time. Everybody develops on a different level, right? Everybody develops in a different way. And I just was like, I'm watching it, and I'm just shaking my head going, it's one game against a high-level opponent in their house. You give it a minute.
I even remember last year when he was a true freshman, right? I guess, and people were like, or I guess, well, whatever he was last year, I don't know.
He was a true freshman.
Yeah,
Well, no, he's a,
and Arch came in against Georgia, and he's like, well, he didn't do anything against. I'm like, nobody's doing anything against that Georgia defense.
The reason he was in is because Quinn Ewers
Because he couldn't do
against
anything.
Georgia.
I mean, it was just we're
Officially,
anyway.
it was Arch's second year, even though he
Yeah.
hadn't played.
Yeah.
Right.
But nevertheless, Ohio State gets that one done. We don't have a new poll yet, by the way, because speaking of Matt Patricia, his old boss, Bill Belichick in North Carolina, have Texas Christian tonight up at Kenan Stadium.
Yep.
But it's the Horned Frogs, Terry Ford, who go in as 3.5-point favorites.
As they should be.
And the ESPN FPI matchup predictor gives the Frogs a 59% chance to win tonight. 8 o'clock kickoff, give or take, maybe a little bit past that. Look, I get all the hype, but this is not not a whole lot different anyway. It is different, but I remember when Steve Spurrier came to Columbia. It's like, well, Steve Spurrier's in Columbia. This is a big deal. It's must-see TV. Carolina had that Thursday night game against UCF. Same kind of thing here, standalone game. Let's see what happens with the hoodie. They don't have a lot of horses to run the race right now. That's the biggest thing. If they go get him next year.
What is it, 70, 80 new players or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, look, can Bill Belichick coach? Does it matter what level? I kind of doubt it. But this year,
We'll see.
what are we expecting?
Look, there shouldn't be, but because his name's Belichick, again, it's going to be just like Arch Manning. Everybody's going to, if Bill Belichick loses tonight to TCU by 2 or 3 scores, see, guy can't coach in college. This guy sucks. And I don't know what Bill Belichick's going to be in college. Usually, college coaches of the NFL don't fare well, and the NFL coaches of college don't fare well. Now, we're looking at the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, arguably, right?
Right.
And he's come to college. It's an interesting experiment. 1 week's not going to tell you anything good or bad. Like, if they win by 2 scores, that doesn't tell you anything
Not
either,
much.
to be quite honest with you.
More coverage of Mr. Belichick's girlfriend. I forget her last name.
Over under of camera shots of her.
Relative to Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game.
Yeah.
More, I think.
More. I think more.
Yeah.
Because there's a creepy.
What's her last name?
I can't remember.
I know it's
don't
Jordan,
know.
but I can't remember her last name.
I don't know. I didn't remember.
They're going to show her
Jordan.
more than they show.
Yes.
Tay
'cause
Tay.
we have we as a sports population have this story's got a little weirdness to it that is kind of made
Well, and
everybody
it's in the Monday night primetime window.
slot and with
So,
nothing going on,
yeah.
but this.
There's an edict from this. See, this is one of those where somebody from Burbank calls and goes, "No, y'all make sure you show that girl."
Yeah, show her at least 5-6 times, everybody. Yeah, I can hear it in the ear. All right, go to the girl.
Yeah.
Go to the girl.
Right.
Go to the girl. Absolutely.
Special break-in button in Burbank. You haven't shown her in a while.
Smithers.
Right. Something like that. All right, that's our integrated media headline. Oh, right, real quick, I'll tell you this one, too. Braves won yesterday, beat the Phillies, yay. And Braves lead the Cubs at Wrigley on Labor Day afternoon, 3-1, bottom 4. So pulling for my Braves to win another one. Plenty more from Coach Shane Beamer after Carolina's season-opening victory yesterday in Atlanta. It's the Gamecock Notebook next.
We talk about Krager Showrooms, formerly The Nest, a ton. We've been spent a great day last Thursday with those folks. A chef from Signature Kitchens came in, working on those cool new state-of-the-art kind of stoves and ovens, and Jay was all tingly over the whole thing. Guy, it was so good. The guy made a little mini taco with a mushroom on it. I hate mushrooms. I ate it. I liked it. And then all of a sudden, everybody went, that was a mushroom. That's how good the cooking was. And you can use those stoves and appliances. They have all the Bosch line of appliances as well. Go check it out at Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest. Just give them a call, 803-978-2025. Set up an appointment. Go in. If you're looking to redo your kitchen with new appliances, there's no better place than Nest. The showroom's fabulous. Call 803-978-2025. Set up an appointment. Tell them your vision, your budget, your goals. They'll make it happen for you. The crew there is phenomenal. Again, The Nest, 803-978-2025. Now Kreger Showrooms in the Vista on Gadsden.
All right, time for the Gamecock Notebook here on this Monday. Welcome back in. Happy Labor Day to all of you. I keep saying Happy Labor Day to hopefully prove that we're live.
Is that what you're trying to do? Like we didn't sit and record the thing for 3 hours?
I would never. I would never.
No.
How was O'Hara's yesterday?
O'Hara's was popping.
Yeah.
A pretty good crowd at O'Hara's. I mean, it's a Labor Day weekend. You know, a lot of people are doing their own thing, but had a nice, solid crowd at O'Hara's.
Good.
And what I like about it, too, Matt and the crew there, every time South Carolina scores, they run over, they get their phones, their iPhones, like hooked into the sound system. They pop Sandstorm.
Oh,
the place
nice.
goes crazy. It's cool.
Nice.
We had a good time. By the way, the French dip is phenomenal.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Irish dip. I'm sorry. Not in France. The server, she was great. I said, I'll take the French dip. She goes, you know we're not in France, right? The Irish dip.
You're not in Ireland either.
The Lexington dip?
Technically.
Good times, though.
Yeah, no, good. Coach Shane Beamer speaking for nearly a half hour after the ball game. We're not going to go there for you, obviously, but let's first, because we have a couple of poll questions running, which we'll come back around to. But yesterday, I thought the defense was extraordinary. Again, Virginia Tech did not score touchdowns, so yes, you had a pick in the end zone, but you know what? It's because of your defense. Other than that, I mean, I had moments, but Carolina seemed to find a way to stifle them. Here's Shane grading his defense.
Yeah, physical, tough, mentally and physically. Early in the game, I thought we were doing that. I mean, there were some ugly runs, but if you look up on a lot of those plays, our offensive linemen had Virginia Tech guys on the ground as well, and for the most part, did a good job stopping the run, which is a challenge. I mean, they've Drones is a load back there, and he's hard to bring down, and he's a heck of a player, and whatnot. But I was proud of them, the mental toughness to just hang in there and not get frustrated and at one another or anything, and just continue to just battle and get stronger. And we knew that this was a physical team. Jared Ferguson is running the strength and conditioning program now. Jared was a teammate of mine. Jared was the associate strength coach when I was there with my dad, and so I know what they're about. And Brent Pry knows what Virginia Tech's about. And I think he's got like 9 of my dad's former players on his staff right now, so they know what it's about. And that's that lunch pail mentality that permeates through that program. So we knew it was going to be a battle, and we knew that we needed to be physical and tough as well. And I think we certainly did that, especially as the game went on, and our depth and size kind of took over a little bit in the second half.
That lunch pail, at least one of them, used to be at the College Football Hall of Fame. That exhibit is not currently there. I guess they have it like in the warehouse right now.
Probably.
Speaking of lunchtime, if you want to bring a lunch pail, but tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we'll have Shane Beamer's weekly press conference live for you from down at the facility ahead of the SC State game. Yep. And in that one, amongst other things, Shane will certainly be giving us some updates on some of the guys who had some bumps and bruises, most notably Judge Collier, who was on crutches not even after his injury, but during the game.
Yeah.
So
good portion of that game he spent on the sideline.
Hopefully more precautionary,
Let's hope.
But crutches.
Good news is you can rest him in the next Saturday.
Right.
It's a 2-week thing. Real quick with Drones, we talked about this earlier. Pressured on almost 45% of his dropbacks. And Drones has struggled through his career against pressure. Ready? Here are his pressure numbers. 3 of 15 for 48 yards and a pick. That's bad. Affecting the game.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's bad. And, again, give South Carolina's pass rush a lot. And they only blitz at like 7-8% of the dropbacks, Jay. This was a lot of heat from the 4 up front.
Right. Which I think is a great sign. I genuinely do, because I appreciate that was a big question. And, again, this is a good football team Carolina played. Carolina did not. I know I keep saying this, but I'm harping on it only because I think the opening drive and just maybe the conference Carolina plays in affects the mindset. But I think the opening drive altered the mood.
Oh yeah,
and maybe a little artificially, but Virginia Tech is not VMI. I mean they're good. They're hungry. As Shane also mentioned in the presser last night, they've been hearing all off season how they're not good enough or just how close they've been and they can't get it done. And now it wasn't a 1-score game, but they didn't have enough against South Carolina.
It took South Carolina longer than I thought to establish their authority.
Yeah.
But once they did, the better team took over.
And on that note, good segue, sir. Here's Shane to flip to the other side because, again, Carolina went right down the field to open the game, and you might have thought, man, we're going to score every time. This is going to be great. And then it bogged down for a bit. Here's Shane on the offense, especially Attaway and Faison finally getting going.
Yeah, the first drive was obviously good to go right down the field and score like we did. You're like, okay, heck of a start. And then it got ugly in there between that and the end of the half, I guess, as well. But I thought those guys just continued to battle. We knew, and we told our players early in the week, we talked about it as a staff, we knew it was going to be some ugly runs, dirty runs, we call it, meaning there's unblocked guys. You're not really sure what their defense is going to be. They've got good players. The two linebackers are really athletic. The two defensive tackles are good football players. Gilliam, number 22, I mean, when I was at Oklahoma, we recruited him to Oklahoma. So Kelvin's a good player. We knew that they were active up front. And we told our guys there's going to be some ugly runs early. Just keep battling, and those guys really did a nice job, and Oscar had some really good individual efforts where it wasn't blocked, and he got more than what it was there in the screen that we had, and then a couple of the runs, and then Sewell, heck of a run throughout the day as well.
Oscar Attaway, 14 carries for 60 yards. Rasul Faison, 7 carries for 40 yards. South Carolina, that was it. They were the only two running backs that touched the football. Lenora Sellers, 13 carries for 25 yards, so a shade under 2. Now remember, those are also sacks and the kneel downs late.
Yeah, -6 on kneel downs.
Yeah. So Lenoris is, he was more effective than that. The overall numbers, and again, why? I don't know. This is a drum I've banged on every year that I've covered college football, and this is now my 28th season professionally of covering college football.
You're old.
I am. And why college football will not adopt the NFL policy of quarterback rushing numbers is simply beyond me.
Dopey.
I mean, and clearly Terry is, and I don't want to stay too much with it, but it's clearly because they just don't want to. There's no good reason.
You know what I hate about some of these things in college athletics? It's almost they do it just to
be different. Yeah.
To be different.
Well, we're not the NFL.
It's just
no
silly.
bleep, Sherlock, but it's still dumb.
It's dumb. Hey, real quick, with Rasul Faison, he had 40 yards rushing and went per Pro Football Focus. 40 yards rushing, had 44 yards after contact.
Wow.
So he got hit in the backfield, like on that 30-yard run. Remember, he made a guy miss in the backfield and then won the 30-yard run. But yeah, he had, on that run, the 30-yard run, 35 yards after contact. He got hit, according to Pro Football Focus, 5 yards in the backfield, broke the tackle, ran for 30.
One more real quick from Shane, please, sir. Number 10. Obviously, a lot of emotion in this one, as it was Shane Beamer versus his alma mater and the place that his father made famous. What was it like?
Awesome. I've tried to just focus on what's important, and that's staying in the moment and helping our players perform well today. First games are always extra tough, in my opinion, just the newness and first games. We had 15 true freshmen in uniform today that had never been here, a bunch of new transfers that were playing their first game in a Gamecock uniform. So it was a lot of, unknown and nerves, but then you just add the emotions of it. But, I think I did okay during the week, and I talked to the team on Tuesday. I didn't want there to be any question about where my emotions were. I wanted to dominate this football game and go win it, and told those guys that early in the week, and proud of them for, having each other's backs and having my back and finding a way to win it in the fourth quarter.
I don't know what that's like. I've never lived anything like that.
It's got to be. Well, they said during the broadcast, did you hear this part where they were talking about, they did Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
Because that's the Virginia Tech thing in black, which is phenomenal.
Oh, it
by
is.
The way.
Yeah.
And they were playing Enter Sandman, and Shane stopped and took off his headset or whatever, and just kind of like took it in.
Sure.
And then smiled, and then went back to his business.
Yeah. I got no problem
and I'm with you. How do you deal with that? You grew up there, basically.
Yeah.
Your dad coached that place.
Yeah.
You were there as a player. You were there as a GA. You got all that. It's more than just coaching. It's life.
Right.
And now you're playing against it with your team.
Yeah. It is something. Yeah, that's tough emotions. And Coach Frank in his Gamecock gear, but his little Virginia Tech pin, just to make sure. To make sure. More on the Gamecocks as part of the drive around the SEC. That's next. Love telling you about our friends at Cato's Power Equipment, and now is a great time to see the folks at Cato's because yard working season is getting ready to be a lot more enjoyable. And if you've been putting it off, whether it's a new mower or anything else, especially this time of year, maybe you need to prune some trees, right? Keep those hedges nice and good. Listen, soon enough, you'll be wanting to decorate the yard for the holidays, whether it's Halloween or Christmas time. Stop into Cato's and see what they can do for you. Let them fit you in the right power equipment for the jobs that you do on a routine basis. I've said it many times. It's like going to the tailor to get your clothing, right? You can buy off the rack, and it'll be fine. But if you go to the tailor, you get that expert service and attention to detail. Same exact thing at Cato's. Ben and Matt have been fantastic to help me with all the things that I use at my yard. And I'm telling you, I'll do the same thing for you. Whether you do it for yourself, whether you do it for a living, see Cato's for great sales, service, and advice. CatosPowerEquipment.com, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard. Cato's Power Equipment.
Well, the good news about a holiday weekend is we're really the roads. We have no issues. Thumbs up to you driving today. The usual construction zones, which, sometimes can be a little bit of an issue, whether there's work or not. I-126 between Hugie and I-26, like always. I-26 Bush River Road, exit 108A, and Old Sandy Run Road, exit 125. I-20 between I-26, that's 64 and 65, like always, at Broad River Road. And the bridge is blocked. Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. We'll get back and hear our drive around the SEC on the postgame show with Jay and Terry on the game.
It is Drive Around the SEC time here on this Labor Day Monday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. We'll have more on the Gamecocks as well. Again, reminder, Shane Beamer press conference tomorrow at 1, and another opportunity to hear Coach live Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Carolina Calls with Coach and Todd from Backstreets, which is about a mile that way.
Which way?
That way.
Nice.
I got to turn.
You pull something there, man. You'll pop a labrum.
That's what I get for doing all that yard work this weekend.
That's right. Well, that's what happened with that head injury.
Yeah. Well, again, something like that. But that'll be Thursday at 7. Carolina calls. Shane, Todd. Good stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Drive around the SEC time here. We had a couple of really big ones. First off, Texas losing at Ohio State. We already talked about that one a little bit and heard from Matt Patricia. And, Arch is getting beat up. I think Texas is going to be
They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine, man.
They're going to – I think Texas will lose a conference game.
Sure.
Maybe 2. I think they'll lose in Athens.
I agree with that.
They might lose another one somewhere along the way. It's hard. And Ohio State's, really good, in case anyone has forgotten.
And where was that game played?
In Columbus.
Yeah. That's in Ohio, right? Not
It
Texas,
is.
Columbus?
Not Columbus, Georgia.
Okay.
Nope.
right.
Nope. Columbus, Ohio. By the way, again, congratulations to Lee Corso. Tennessee, South Carolina, FSU, Miami, LSU, Ohio State were his picks.
You know what? They did a really nice job on Saturday. I'm going to give them their props.
It was great.
And look, I love Lee Corso. I always have. And I just think he always brought something different. He was never afraid to say what he felt. And, just the way they honored him Saturday, I thought was fitting of what he deserved.
If I may, real quick, because to your point, there was a time back in the 80s and 90s when ESPN didn't have a big budget. And so unlike your CBS, NBC, and later Fox, they couldn't go out and get the future Hall of Famers and whatnot, right? Like, for instance, with Chris Berman, they had my guy Tom Jackson, right? Tom was a good Denver Bronco, don't get me wrong, and a good Louisville Cardinal. But he wasn't Lawrence Taylor.
No.
Right? Or something of that ilk. Lee Corso was the same. Lee Corso was a not very, like Dick Vitale.
It's funny.
He was a not very successful coach at 2 basketball schools, man. Louisville and Indiana are what Lee Corso was kind of known for. Kirk Herbstreit was a serviceable Ohio State quarterback. But along with the great hosts like Chris Fowler, it became something much larger.
Yeah.
And Lee Corso was just infectious. I know after the stroke, it got tough for a lot of people. And I see things on Twitter, and sometimes I hate that stuff. Like, why don't they get this guy off of here? Well, no, he helped revolutionize. For a time, I still think it is pound for pound. I don't think they try to cram so much now into game day.
Yeah.
But for a solid 20 years, man, the best pregame show in America, not for college football, for sports.
It was
College Game Day.
The only thing that's come close to a College Game Day is what TNT became with Barkley and those guys.
Agreed. I think that's number 2.
Other one.
I think that's number 2. Because again, I can watch those guys talk about how paint dries, and it would be awesome.
About toenail clipping,
it would be
laughing.
Awesome.
And going back to Game Day,
Chuck, you cut your toenails wrong. Shut up, Shaq.
I'll smack you in the head.
Kenny's like, in
terrible.
New York, we go to a manicurist and a pedicurist.
I just think that Corso, because he said what he thought.
Right.
And that always resonates, man. It always does. But you know what the thing, too? He mixed
Not so fast,
in,
my friend. I loved that.
I loved it, too.
It was like that became a thing.
And I love the fact that he could also talk ball.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing with Corso that made him different. He could be a goober, but then he could turn around and talk ball with you.
Yeah.
And he understood the entertainment factor of it. He just, it was, it was that perfect storm, right, of everything.
It was great.
And we forget something. Do you know who the guy was before Herbstreit?
Craig
James.
Craig James, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah, me either.
Herbstreit's
Herbstreit's much
better.
And I just think that show, once it hit campus, it became such a thing.
It became, yeah.
And they had a great story about the headgear. I was watching this last night. Because remember, Herbstreit was like the new guy, right? And so Corso calls him, "Hey, sweetheart, because that's Corso's thing.
Right.
Do you think you can get the Buckeye head for me for Saturday?" It's like, and Herbstreit's like telling the story. I barely know this dude. And he wants me to get the Buckeye head.
Well, and what was it? Because Herbstreit's girlfriend
then became his fiance and wife.
And what? Yeah,
cheerleader.
Was a cheerleader at Ohio State.
It was stunning. Looking at Herbstreit, he'd be going out with the cheerleader,
right.
And so Ohio State at first.
Is that a thing? Do quarterbacks go out with cheerleaders?
I never heard that before. I thought the cheerleaders always went out with the guys in the AV department.
Like Steve Spurrier did that too.
Yeah. So at first it got turned down. Ohio State said no.
Yeah, right.
But then ESPN went back again, and finally Ohio State said, "Sure, okay, whatever." Because the Buckeye head's like a big deal, right? This is like a tradition thing. This Buckeye head. So they said, "Okay, we'll let you guys use it," and that's where the whole thing started. But they got turned down at first.
No, it's great.
It's a great story. I was real happy the way ESPN they brought again. Fowler was there, and it was good, man.
Well, and a tip of the cap, like Fox cut into the ESPN feed. I didn't watch it on Fox, but because their show is harder for me to do. But
same here.
But I do like Rob Stone, but I'm just sometimes listening to Matt and Coach Meyer.
The whole thing, I have a tough time with it. Not my thing.
Yeah. But anyway, congratulations to Lee Corso for getting them all right. And again, bold pick, even though it was his alma mater, bold pick on Florida State. Because I was like, well, you're going to get that one wrong, sir. Yeah. And he did not. Regardless, there were other games besides the one in Columbus, including that big one in Tallahassee. Kalen DeBoer and Alabama not just beaten, humbled maybe. Cut 25 on today's list, please, Terry Ford. Here is Alabama's head coach on his reaction.
Let me get it. Which cut was it?
25.
Oh, I got on this. I had to make sure I had on the right thing.
You know, I choose to believe we got a good football team, but you know, we can't play on our heels. That falls on everyone. I don't just point the finger at the players, but we gotta, you know, we talked in the locker room. There's no excuse about what happened. We step on the football field. They step on the football field, and we got to play ball. We got to play our style of ball. You know, last year isn't this year. And it's going to be an uphill climb for us, but you can't think of it in the big scope of things. You got to focus on the moment, and the next moment is what happens tomorrow.
I don't know. Look, they have Monroe, so they're going to win this weekend.
You sure?
Yeah. Well, good gracious. Yeah, they're going to beat Monroe. Then they've got Wisconsin. That will be more difficult. But both those games are at Bryant-Denny, and then maybe things can settle in. You know, he's got a great year 2 track record. I don't envy the things that he's going to be going through because that fan base, as expected, is in full-on meltdown mode. But it's partly because of last year. And it's interesting because even before the game, speaking of game day, when Nick Saban was breaking down Bama FSU, I found it interesting that Coach Saban chose the word disappointing to talk about last season because I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. You were 9-3 in the regular season. That's just,
and the losses are inexcusable at a mediocre at best Oklahoma team, and you lost to Vandy, bro. Yeah. I don't care where that game was.
You can't. You just can't do it.
I don't care if it was a Dollywood.
Tennessee beating you is one thing, but losing to a Vanderbilt team that. Just,
No, you can't. You can't lose those 2 games. You know, Kalen DeBoer's lost more games to unranked opponents than Nick Saban did in his entire 15 years. Run that one through your skull real quick.
And I imagine that most of the Knicks were in that very first season when they went 6-6, including the loss to Monroe.
Yes, I'll say this. It's just the thing that struck me was they were beaten up physically, and Nick's teams never got beat up physically like that. It was
and I is that some of the things they're not doing in practice is some of the things I've read that he's tried to be a little more player friendly.
I've got a couple buddies of mine who are Bama fans, and whenever things go sideways, I get this #PlayersCoach.
Yeah,
I get that. Tell you what, they got 2 weeks to get this right. If they get curb stomped by Georgia, my man, in Athens.
Well, I think they're going to get beat by Georgia.
But I mean, get manhandled like they just did.
Yeah,
that's going to be ugly.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I think they're going to lose to Georgia.
Oh, I agree. But if you get punked like you did Saturday,
All right, I want to get a few more things in, so we'll wrap up the drive around the SEC on the other side as the postgame show.
a diamond formation with Sellers in the middle. He wants to throw it. He's got a post route, and here comes Nick Harbor, caught at the 10. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Nick Harbor. 64 yards out. They blew the starter gun, and he went for the Olympic record on that one. Nobody getting him. Boom.
Todd Ellis on the call. Big play for South Carolina. Boom, indeed. Again, Carolina needed that one. Threw that out yesterday on Twitter. Needed it not just for the moment, which was true, but needed it for the program. I've mentioned a couple of times. That's a moderate amount of mental weight lifted from the shoulders of those two young men because everybody's been waiting to see it. Andy Staples even wrote a piece today at On3 about how you've all done it in the video game, and we've finally seen it in real life. You know, that's what that's become. And so, and to the point you made earlier, Terry, that puts that on film finally. We've talked for a couple of seasons. You can't just send the speedster Nick Harbor on go routes and post routes and use him as a decoy. Eventually, DCs are going to go, yeah, they're not throwing the ball to him because he can't catch it, or he might not get open, or he might not, whatever. Now, and like I say, too, I still think the one that was overturned was a catch. I love the point you made. If it's a running back, that's a touchdown. And even the one for real quick, too, as we kind of continue the drive around with LSU beating Clemson, Brown hit the pylon. If I'm a running back and I dive and hit the pylon, and then
and the ball goes
out of my hands after I hit, it's still a touchdown.
It's a touchdown.
So again,
help me, man.
Yeah, and as long as you don't lose control, the ball is allowed to have some movement. I read the rule.
Yeah, I know.
Before I say some of the things I say in my job, I read the rule, which is why I still contend that both of those
I'm with you.
were catches. And I think that's something, honestly, that'll be revisited, and here's why. This was the opening weekend, and you had two high-profile national television games have similar overturned calls. These will not be the only two of the season where that happens.
No, we know.
There's a lot of college football that gets played.
Yep. Oh, by the way, real quick, we didn't touch on this. Got to give Brady Hunt his props.
Yeah.
5 catches.
Big
had
game.
a heck of a block on the Sellers touchdown run on the first drive. Brady Hunt played well yesterday.
Glad to have him back because he got hurt in the Missouri game and had to miss those final few. And he had really, I think, come into his own, next to Josh last year. So to have him and Michael Smith doing what they're doing.
Well, how about the first catch of the game? Who's it go to?
Yeah.
How cool Maurice Brown gets the first catch of the game.
Got one, yeah.
If you dropped money on that in Vegas, you made some dough.
No. So, listen, a solid overall win for South Carolina. I had a couple of poll questions for you, too. Which was the biggest positive to come from the Carolina win? A, the Attaway Faison production. B, defense was active. C, Lenoris to Nick, big play, which, as I just explained, is more big picture than just the moment. Or the Vakari Swain punt return, which, again, just as much about the big picture. First time that's happened for South Carolina in a dozen years. 66.4% of you say it was the defense. 16.8%, the Lenoris to Nick big play. 8.8%, the punt return. 8% even for Attaway and Faison. And then your biggest concern, A, injuries. B, offensive line play. C, sacks taken by Lenoris. D, wide receiver distribution. In other words, just getting more guys going in what is a crowded wide receiver room. Maybe we thought a few more guys might see the ball. 88.8%. Now, not at all surprised. Offensive line play. 5.4% injuries, 4.3% Lenoris taking those sacks, and just 1.4 on wide receiver distribution. Again, Shane will be speaking again tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and we'll have that live for you ahead of the South Carolina State game. Speaking of the injuries, Shed Surratt didn't make the trip. Shane says he's still a little banged up there for a guy up front, and Judge Collier getting hurt early and was on crutches and street clothes for the remainder of the ball game. So just what that looks like remains to be seen. So we'll have more of an injury update from Coach Beamer tomorrow at 1 o'clock. But overall, listen, solid opening win, good football opponent in Virginia Tech. Plenty to work on. Coaches love a nice, in the end, I'll be careful to use the word comfortable win, but you won by 13 points.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't allow a touchdown. I think there's a lot to be encouraged by, and you know exactly what must improve.
You feel a lot. You feel good. You
I
just
think
have to
so.
feel good.
I think so. Good, solid win. Lots more to do. State this weekend, and then you open conference play with Vandy. Good stuff today. Again, Shane tomorrow. Plenty of sound from him. Mike Yuba will join us tomorrow as well. Happy Labor Day for Terry. I'm Jay. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. We'll see you tomorrow. Palmetto Propane has been in business since 1959, specializing in full-service propane providing, whether it's for businesses, for homes, farms, whatever it is when it comes to the need, plus professional installation on a full range of products, including gas